first of all, we must apologise for being late, but that's my fault. When you get a puncture in your tyre, normally it's a good idea to change it there and then, not wait 3 days and then walk out the house and realise that you've got a flat. But that's exactly what happened. I had a blowout on Monday evening whilst I was out taxiing, and parked it up. I then realised on today that my tyre was flat, so I had to change it. So that's the reason why I'm late. So apologies for that, but we're getting on. I think Dave's having a few technical issues, which is the reason why you can see him in the background there, messing around because he's trying to sort stuff out. So we obviously, if you were listening last week, you'd have heard our Halloween special, which was from the Welcome Tavern in Sunderland. We've got a few things that we need to sort out, and then we're going to go back to that and have a discussion about that. But we need to look at EVPs and stuff like that. I must say, as somebody who doesn't believe in ghosts and what have you, I got quite excited at one point because one of the EMFs that we're using did actually show some activity. But then Christine just joined us on Facebook. Hello, Christine. So I got quite excited because it did actually show something, but it was only in one very specific point. So as Dave said to me, it would have been classed as a hit, but obviously I'm not that way inclined, so it could have been anything as far as I'm concerned. But you know, I'll leave it up to the experts. But there was just the one spot that that I experienced. Christine had her crystals out. I'm not a fan of crystals. There's so much could go wrong with the crystals. I mean, I tried them, Aaron tried them, and we got nothing. But apparently crystals only work for you with the York crystals. So, but anyway, as I said, we're going to come back to that and we're going to discuss it. I just hope that you can hear me all, or you can all can hear me. Oh, yeah, we have the sound waves, so obviously there must be some sound out there. So if you are listening on the radio, then or on the computer, then please get in touch, come to the chat room and give us a call.
That's me happy now. We're working.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Looking nice and clear tonight. Yeah, we are. Yeah. I am. I don't know why, because we're using exactly the same webcam. We're using exactly the same computer as what we have been. So I don't know why it's now working perfectly and not before. We've got Diane and Christine in the chat room now. We've got Leslie and Christine on Facebook. So Christine's obviously loves us that much. She's watching us twice, or she's listening to us twice.
She's got must have multiple computers in the house. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But the thing was, I mean, I've never listened to anything on Facebook and something that's happening somewhere else, but there's a delay apparently. So
you're going to be confused.
Yeah, I was going to say. Well, it doesn't take a lot to confuse me anyway. But yeah, it would definitely confuse me. So before the Halloween special, we were talking about demonic possessions, and we obviously went into the Annalise Michel story, which was then made into a film, the Poltergeist, the Exorcist. I'll get there in a minute. The Exorcism,
Emily Rose,
which actually was flicking through Netflix the other night, and I came across it, and I was actually considering watching it, just because of the story that we've been discussing and what have you. But obviously there is. I'm presuming she's on about a delay because that's how long it took me.
There's definitely a delay.
Yeah.
Delay is central.
So I saw it on Netflix and I was thinking about watching it. Can't hear anything probably Diane can't hear anything through the computer.
Is that on the radio, Diane? Is it you can't hear anything? Because we're looking sort of what signal going out now?
Unless she's on about before when we didn't have anything and she couldn't hear us. Hopefully everybody can hear us.
Yes, on the radio.
Yes, on the radio. That's what you must be listening through the Facebook. Through the Facebook. How old do I sound? Oh, 70. It's that the Facebook thing, you know. Yeah, you're on now. Right.
Right, good stuff. I'll say, well,
So eventually we'll get there. So I have both.
there's some people just like showing off tonight. I've got 2 points of contact.
Christine's,
So
Christine's got both.
did you watch the movie then?
I didn't.
No.
I didn't watch it. I was considering it, but then I got sidetracked and I can't remember. Oh, I watched The King instead.
You got sidetracked.
Yeah, I was
Honestly.
when Aaron told me about this film called The King, which is about Henry V,
Right.
and that's how I ended up on Netflix because I don't really watch a lot of TV or films, as you probably know. But I was flicking through and I came across the Exorcism of Emily Rose, and I was going to watch it. And then I thought, no, I've sat down to watch the King, so I watched The King, which is a really good story. Obviously, it's more based on the Shakespeare story rather than the story of Henry V. Not that we're going to be talking about Henry V, but yeah.
Unless there's an apparition somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I was going to say the Lady of the Lake, but that's King Arthur, isn't it? Who didn't even exist. So I'm well away from the Kings anyway. So I never watched it.
Right.
Is the answer. And what was the other film? What film you talking about now? Not watching.
I'm still trying to get him to go
I
and
have
see.
actually seen it. I have seen the Exorcism of Emily Rose when it first came out, or when it first came out on DVD. Or was it even video?
I've got it on DVD.
Right, so
I've
it
checked.
must have been DVD. So,
I was obviously saying to you the other night. I think if anybody's out there and you want to go and see a really good film, if you're kind of because I don't like me scaries. The Doctor Sleep, which is the follow up to The Shining, is absolutely awesome.
I've seen it. I mean, I can't remember how, but it was accidentally that I found out about it. I think somebody was on something in the mentioning or something. I can't remember the exact reason now, but then I found out exactly what it was, and I thought, I didn't even realise they'd made it.
No, it's fab. It's brilliant.
I mean, I'm a bit disappointed that they didn't use the boy from the first one, but he's retired from acting. So, but yeah.
No, it's.
No. I mean, I know what it's about, but I mean, I'm talking about the actual actor rather than the kid himself, as it was. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So I will eventually get to see it at some point. It'll be one of these other films that people will be talking about in years to come. I'll be like, I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Diane,
I will get to see it.
Diane fell asleep in The Shining. Wow. Okay.
Whoa! How do you fall asleep in it?
That's one. That's one film I couldn't fall asleep in.
No, I can't fall asleep when even thinking about it. Especially the twins.
Or the bath scene. Yeah, that's the other one.
What? You mean the bathroom scene?
Yeah. When she's sitting in the bath and she pulls it back and she gets out and that's
yeah, and then we obviously were talking about the Exorcism Roland Door, which was turned into The Exorcist. So there we go. There's the stories that we've been talking about.
Not a bad one for films, anyway.
You what? Sorry.
Not a bad one for films.
What the two films?
Yeah, the two films.
Yeah. I mean, there is another one apparently based on the Roland Door, but I can't remember what it's called. But just talking about exorcism. Did you know that this is something that I came across when I was obviously looking up all the different things? Did you know that a 6-year-old boy in Arizona died after his father tried to perform an exorcism on him?
What happened?
I'm about to tell you. Pablo Martinez was arrested on first-degree murder after he allegedly told detectives he poured boiling hot water down his son's throat to get a demon out of him.
Father of the Year, right there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, it always really. I mean, obviously it's not a funny thing that the kids died from it, but just thinking about the boiling water, when I shouldn't really be laughing when.
It's that nervous.
When my daughter,
I'm nervous now.
When my daughter was a baby, when Amber was a baby,
oh God,
I was doing my fatherly duties because Tracy, our mum, had went out for the night with a group of friends from work and whatever. So it was my first night ever of looking after a baby child. I'd babysat, but babysat all the children. I'd never babysat a baby before.
Right.
So this was the first time I'd ever babysat a baby. Well, you can't really call it babysitting because I'm a father, so I was doing my fatherly duties. But anyway, I'd never made a bottle up. Now this makes me sound like a really misogynistic male chauvinist, doesn't it? But the thing was, I'd never made a bottle up, but that's not because of the fact that I'm a male chauvinist or anything like that. It's just I was working sometimes 15 hours a day. So Tracy did all the making bottles and this and that. And for the first part of Amber's life, the first few months, she was breastfed.
Well, yeah. You haven't got the equipment to do that.
Yeah, I struggled a little bit with that. But anyway, so Tracy's gone out and she's left me with Amber. So she told me how to put a bottle up. Now, I don't know how many men out there are experienced with putting bottles up, but basically, you get the powder, the milk powder, you put it in a bottle, you boil the water, put the boiling water into the bottle, and there's the formula made up. You don't give it to a child until you get it down to body temperature.
Yeah.
And you test this by pouring it over the back of your hand. Now I know that, 26 years later. However, the instructions were, and always a man to follow instructions, were, this is how you make a bottle. You take the bottle, you put the powder in, you put the boiling water in, up to a certain level. So let's say, 10 ounces, we'll say. I mean, I can't remember, because like I say, it was 26 years ago, or 27 years ago, how old's my daughter? But anyway, so I've done that. She never mentioned the cooling down bit. So I've now sat on the settee with Amber with this bottle of formula.
Was it not hurting your hands? Was it not hot?
No, well, it was, but it was like, I thought it was just.
Christine's saying, oh no.
So I've stuck it in her mouth.
Oh no.
Because obviously she's now like, I want some food, because she's seen the bottle. So she's now wanting some food. She then starts screaming. Now, obviously, I'm now thinking, what's she screaming for? Is she screaming because, she's hungry? And if she is, then she's getting fed. So what's she screaming for? Or is she screaming because, as babies do, they're screaming when the nappy's full, and, they're too tired, they're not tired, all this sort of stuff, So I'm thinking, what can she be crying for? So in order to find this out, obviously I had to remove the bottle from her mouth. When I removed the bottle from her mouth, obviously she didn't want to swallow boiling hot water, so she spat it out onto the back of my hand. And I still think to this day, if I look at the back of my hand, that I have a scar from the boiling water that hit the back of my hand.
Oh my God.
So, yes. So
Right.
That's the reason why. And how she survived to be 27 with a father like me, I've got no idea.
She's quite a well-adjusted young lady as well.
She is. Exactly.
Bless her.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, Amber.
I don't know how she turned out so well, especially with a father like me. But she did.
Well done, Amber.
Yeah, exactly. Well done on surviving. But yeah, getting back to this. So an Arizona man was arrested in connection with a death of his 6-year-old son after he poured boiling hot water down the boy's throat to rid the child of demon, according to a criminal complaint. Pablo Martinez told police that he was performing an exorcism on the little boy.
Because that's your go-to excuse.
Because the child was demonic and had a demon inside of him. Right, so that's obviously where I've gone wrong with Aaron. It should have been Aaron that I was pouring boiling water down.
Never mind.
And Aaron's probably
Aaron's all right as well, mind.
Aaron's probably listening, so he's probably going to.
Yes, there'll be some abusive text messages coming through. Right, so on that subject, just quickly, I'm going to dive in there. Guys, if you get your pen ready, if you want to get in contact with us this evening, the telephone number is 01207 795 005. So that's 01207 795 005. And if you want to get in touch with us via text message, the text number is 60777. That's 60777, and please start your message with 89 M for mother, X for X-ray 4. All right, so that's 89MX4. And the WhatsApp number,
I remember to put it up.
which is now on screen, All right, if you're having problems, you can go to the Ambron Radio webpage, and it's on the contact sheet there. The WhatsApp telephone number is to text us this evening. If you want to text us through the WhatsApp, is 07742660483. So that's 07742660483.
Well, we've now got Samantha, Mandy, and Sean in the room with us.
Hello, everybody.
And,
In the room with us.
yeah.
Are you having some kind of mediumistic experience here?
Well, it is the paranormal experience. So, yeah. And Samantha says that I'm a nut job.
Yeah, she is.
And
Samantha, he is. He's honestly, I had dark hair when I met him.
and Sean said, because Sean's Aaron's best mate, Sean says that he agrees that it should have been Aaron that poured the water on.
Oh, bless him. He's all right, is Aaron. Yeah, Christine. Even Christine said he's lovely as well. So
yeah, he is.
in small doses, apparently. But
I was
no,
gonna
he's a
say,
canny lad.
he's all right. You'll see. This work you do. The fact that we put on Friday the 30th as well should have given you a clue, shouldn't it?
Well, there you go. Did you check his forehead, or was it the 666 mark or anything like that?
No, I didn't know. I
Mark of the
maybe should have done. I maybe should have checked his forehead. Just,
Aaron, next time we see you, we're going to shave your head just to check. All right, mate?
I mean, what do you call it? He's Aaron is a lovely lad. Yeah, he is.
We jest.
He's
I am. I'm on the lad. He won't.
no, he is. He is. He's a lovely lad. He's a lovely lad. No, he's still not watching. It's got to be up in the morning for work.
Bless him.
So yeah, but yeah, he so moving swiftly on before the police come knocking on the door and arrest me for child abuse.
Child services.
Obviously, you know, I mean, it's 90,
Historical is that
92, 27 years ago. So that's how I've got to work out. I've told you before. That's how I've got to work out the age of my children. I've got to remember. I always remember the year they were born. I've just got to take it away from now every single time. So it's 27. So yeah. So apparently everybody can see us clearly on the Facebook. The Facebook. Like I say, I sound like some like 70-year-old man. It's the Facebook. Not their Facebook. So, but we're too low for you to see, so I'm going to have to stand up and show you our amazing hoodies.
Oh, right.
Because you'll be able to see them now.
Ooh. There you go.
There you go, all available in good radio station shops.
Yeah, you can get them on the website.
Well, you will be able to when I actually get round to them. But the £15, as you can see, Dave and I have the paranormal experience on. But you can have any show on, or you can have them with no show on at all, just the Ambron Radio logo. Obviously, I'm not going to sell you one that has nothing on. I'm not going to sell you just a hoodie because that would be pointless. So anyway, what we're going to talk about now, and this is in no connection to Aaron, because what we're going to talk about is the little bastard.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Right. So the little bastard, right, is not a person. That thing. The little bastard is a car. Now, you definitely know the person who owned the car, or you know of the person who owned the car, if you didn't know it was called what it's called. Because on the 30th of September 1955, it was involved in a car crash.
This isn't a Porsche by any chance.
It is. It's a Porsche Spider, and it was owned by.
Sorry, we're just reading the messages here. Patrick, I'm telling Mum.
Yeah, exactly. Right. It was owned by a certain name. Certain name. Yeah, exactly. It was owned by a certain Hollywood actor by the name of James Dean.
Jimmy Dean.
Ironically enough, he was told 7 years before he got into the car that if he ever got into the Spider, he wouldn't last a week.
Is that right?
Yeah. Do you know who told that?
Who told him that?
Your mate, Sir Alec Guinness.
Sir Alec Guinness.
So Alec Guinness, even then, he was a prophet of
The force was strong.
Exactly. He was 24-year-old as well. No, Alec Guinness wasn't 24-year-old. Well, he probably was, I don't know.
At some stage in his life.
So he would have been 64-year-old
Wow.
if he was still alive to this day, but he wasn't. So, no, sorry, it was 64 years ago. So he would have actually been 88.
Crikey, that's not a bad age.
Eh?
That's not a bad age.
I thought you said that's your age.
No. No.
So anyway, so yeah, basically what happened was
You're pushing it tonight, aren't you?
he competed in several auto racing events and was traveling to a sports car racing competition when his car crashed at the junction of California State Route 46, which it was formerly known as 466. Very close.
Near enough.
And the California State Route 41. He was 24 years old. And so, yeah. On September the 30th, 1955, Demon's Porsche factory-trained mechanic Rolf Wulverich were at competition waters in Hollywood preparing the little bastards for the weekend sports car races. So it's not me.
Christine's saying there that they're apparently making a new film using the CGI with James Dean. That's
I've always wondered if James Dean, that's a completely different.
That's
job.
a complete. Yeah, it is like.
If James Dean had survived,
He might have been driving that night. To be fair.
It's the resort. Shut up.
He was sitting on the roof with the bucket. We're going to get haunted by James Dean now.
It's going to be like, what? So, yes, Mr. Bean.
So, Mr. Dean.
Mr. Dean. I've always wondered if he was alive today or if he'd lived longer, would he be the iconic movie star? Because I've seen the 3 films that he made, and I can't really see that he was an iconic actor. He wasn't bad, don't get me wrong.
No. I've got to be honest with you. I've many years ago. So I can't remember which movie it was. Was it Rebel Without a Cause?
Yeah, there's Rebel Without a Cause. There's Rebel with a Cause. There's something else. I don't know. I can't remember. Christine just said in the chat room there that she wasn't keen on him, and I'm going to be totally honest with you, Christine. I agree. I couldn't see what the fuss was about. Yeah. Giant. Yeah.
It wasn't really. It wasn't really. He was never. What's the word? He's never really sort of done it for me as an actor. You know, it's not one of the ones you go to compared with some of the old great ones, etc.
Yeah.
You know, like sort of like the Rock Hudsons and all like sort of.
Yeah, Rock Hudson was a proper.
He was iconic. He was an iconic.
The likes of people that were around it, like Alex Guinness. Alex Guinness is a completely different bloke.
Yeah, he's a brother Phil Logan.
Sir Alec Guinness. There was Sir Alec Guinness. Who's two of them are going tonight? There was Sir Alec Guinness, who was obviously an iconic actor. Yeah. There was Laurence Olivier.
Yeah.
Marlon Brando.
Yeah, I mean, you've got all those guys of that same era.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you've got James Dean.
Yeah, and yes, James Dean was the one, I mean, obviously.
Humphrey Bogart.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. They're all classed as iconic legends. But James Dean is something else, isn't he?
I don't...
He's almost like godlike.
But is it the fact that...
Look at him.
But is it the fact where it's kind of like... He was gone before his time, and it's that kind of.
Would he?
They've given him that status.
Yeah, exactly. Would he have, if he carried on? Would he have become Alec Guinness? I was going to say James Dean, but obviously he'd become a James Dean, wouldn't he?
Burt Lancaster, Kirk Douglas, keep him coming, Chris. Keanu Reeves.
Well, it depends. He made me thought when he.
Who's she? I've never heard of her. I love that expression. I have heard of Keanu Reeves. Diane, please don't.
It's maybe when he went back to Bill and Ted. Excellent. That's how he ended up. There. Yeah, Keanu Reeves. But yeah, would he have been a Keanu Reeves? Because that's the sort of.
Yeah, well, you see, that's the thing. But but then Keanu Reeves is a really actually Diane spot on example, because if you look at Keanu Reeves in Bill and Ted,
exactly.
And you look at him and you just think, dear God,
him in John Wick.
Yeah,
You know, you see him in Bill and Ted, and then you see him in John Wick.
it's pulls apart, isn't it? Absolute pulls apart.
Well, the answer is don't kill his dog.
Well, if anybody kills a dog, you're going to get that.
Well, exactly. Well, I don't know if you're going to get that much. I mean, I know I love my dog, but I mean, am I really going to go to town on somebody like he does in John Wick? Probably, actually.
Yeah, you probably would. Yeah, to be fair. No, but it's a good example. I mean, like, say, you look at sort of the young actors. I mean, there's another one, Will Smith. And if you look at him back in the day, we're doing stuff
Fresh Prince of
Bel-Air. And it's like cringeworthy now.
Yeah.
It was great at the time, but cringeworthy now.
Typical American youth.
80s,
I mean, you watch an American police program, and it's all this overacting stuff, isn't it? It's all this like, you know, it's all this like Disney stuff. I mean, you watch like, you know, The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. I sound like I've really watched like loads of police programs.
These are the films that he actually watches, ladies and gentlemen.
But I did actually have 2 children, you know, that all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've just bit my tongue. Speaking of having somebody else's teeth, I've just bit my tongue.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Dave on Amber and Radio. This is Paddy.
Yeah, this is Paddy with a big fat tongue. That he keeps biting. But, so yeah, so would he have been, you know, like the Burt Lancaster, the Kirk Douglas? Oh, I'm Spartacus.
Hey, there was I don't know whether you saw on I think it was on Facebook or it was on Twitter, one of the two the other day, where I had a photograph of Michael Douglas with his dad.
Yeah.
And bloody hell. Pardon me French.
No, you're right. His dad
was 102, 103, something
like that. Yeah, he's quite an older gentleman.
And he was out for what? I mean, now he was a legend.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Never mind.
I always remember just every time somebody mentions Kirk Douglas, I always remember
Spartacus.
I always remember going to a pub quiz, and at the time it was like the prize fund was £45 because it was like one of them.
Was this back in the day, Paddy? Was that enough to pay your mortgage off?
Back in the day, it was all. It was like late 80s, early 90s, and the prize was because every week they went up by £5 or something. And this particular week was the highest it's ever been. It was £45, and the question was asked: who was the co-star to Kirk Douglas in Spartacus? Who was the male co-star?
Good God!
Now I went straight away. I went to my ma and I went, "It's that bloke that looks like Tony Curtis, man. What do you call him? What do you call him, man? Bloke looks like Tony Curtis." What I meant was Victor Mature. The actual actor
was Victor Mature.
No, the actual actor in Spartacus as the co-star was Tony Curtis.
Oh dear God!
So I'm standing there. I'm sitting there.
Tony Curtis.
I'm sitting there going, "That bloke who looks like Tony Curtis, man." Meaning Victor Mature, but in actual fact, the reason he looked like Tony Curtis is because it is Tony Curtis. So yeah. So needless to say, I got a clip off me ma.
Nice one. So you did win the 45 quid then?
No.
There you go. Oh.
No, I think they rolled over to the next week, and the next week's question was something like, the next week's question was, who won one Olympic medal, you know, in such and such Olympics? Now I said, well, it's either going to be Japan or China. It was in table tennis, so I said, well, it's got to be Japan or China. So I went for Japan, and it was China.
There we go.
So the moral of the story is, don't ask me what.
Paddy's not going to be on the pub quiz team.
Yeah, don't
when we have the Christmas night out.
Don't ask me any questions. This is the Paddy McGough embarrassing himself show. Yeah,
keep firing.
Because we've only been on for nearly an hour, and Paddy McGough has done nothing else but talk about his mishaps. Well, it's McGough, whatever. But anyway,
it's just over half an hour.
Yeah. So anyway, James.
Not that we were late in any way, shape, or form.
I did apologise when we first came on and said that was my fault. When you get a flat tire,
they might actually, to be fair, they might not have heard that apology.
Oh, right. So what do you say?
Well, we would.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I'll give them the apology again. Right. The reason we were late coming to air tonight is Dave wants me to tell you. Was because
you were going to try and blame me then.
Because of Dave. Was because the moral of the story is, if you get a puncture in your tyre on a Monday evening whilst out driving your taxi, change it on Tuesday. Don't wait until Thursday when you need to leave the house and go somewhere, and then realise you've got a flat tire, and then have to change it, and realising that you've only left enough time to go to where you need to be.
Having said that, though, Paddy changed it so fast tonight. His audition for the Formula One racing team has now been completed, and he's now joining.
And let's face it, talking about this thing about James Dean. Whoa, what's going on? Oh, nowadays it's this one.
Somebody.
I because I'm on chat page. I opened the radio, and the radio automatically started.
Did you?
So you should see me up here any time now. But anyway, what was I saying?
I don't know.
I can't remember what I was saying.
Right.
Oh, yes, so speaking about my car, I was definitely calling my car a little bastard tonight. But anyway, now you're here.
Yes.
Yeah, there I am.
Paddy has entered the chat room.
Paddy is here. I'm at the top on my page.
Oh, yeah.
And you're below the bot. Anyway, so the reason why we're here, dear, the paranormal experience.
That's not what we're doing.
not the let's talk about Paddy and let's try and embarrass him as much as we possibly can, even though that is possible, because let's face it, I'm not. I'm really a clever person. I just haven't got no comments.
Yeah, you held the door open for everybody else when they were handing out cod and cents. Like,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
after you.
Exactly. Yeah, you keep going.
Sorry, son, we've got none left.
you can have the dregs.
It's
The
great.
barrel out there. Exactly. Anyway,
Yeah.
where were we? We were
Talking
talking
about the little bastard.
Yeah. What did he need?
Was it? Yeah, Christine, it is. It's definitely a comedy show tonight. Good God, my jaws are aching, and it's only half an hour in. Yep.
Imagine what I'm feeling like. I've bit my tongue. You know, sorry for you. So I've bit my tongue. Not that I'm saying go out and bite your tongue. You know, just so you can just so you can share the pain. Share the pain. Anyway, James Dean's car.
The little bastard.
Why are we talking about James Dean's car? I hear you say. Because let's face it, how many people have died in car crashes? Well, the reason we're talking about James Dean's car is because he's had a also the same.
Yes.
So the curse of James Dean's car, the little bastard. If my car was cursed, I would definitely call it that. Yeah.
Do you actually know who named the car?
I was laughing so hard when Paddy said he was smart.
Yeah, that was the best bit to show that.
Whoa, steady on. And there's no need for that.
It's even funny, it's your sister.
Exactly, yeah, there's no need for that. Anyway, James, what do you say?
So it was even more funny, it was your sister.
No, what you were going to say something before.
Why,
Dear, what are you doing?
just come my head off there. Why was it called the little bastard?
I'm sure we'll find out.
Okay.
Or let's have a look. Let's see if we can find out why it was called what it was called.
I was face planting.
You just nearly took my nose off, dear.
Oh, please. Oh.
Let's have a look. I mean, you probably cut right.
Right, go on and go tell it, give us the story. Tell us about what happened.
It doesn't actually say. It just mentions it a lot of times. So anyway, the curse of the little bastard has been. I just like saying it. It's become part of America's cultural mythology. Warren Beath, a James Dean archivist and author. Archivist. He only made 3 films. We've already established that. So he's hardly an archivist, is he?
Well, I was going to say that's the best job in the film industry.
He's only got 24 years to do stuff. To things like make stuff. I mean, come up with stuff, and then that's it. So anyway, he believes that the source of the myth is George Barris, the self-described king of customizers. That's customizers with a K.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Obviously, customizing cars. I believe.
But it wasn't a customised car, though, was it?
He said, no.
It was
He bought the car.
All right.
This king of customizers bought the car after it was wrecked. Barris promoted the curse after he placed the wreck on a public display in 1956. Over the years, Barris described a mysterious series of accidents, not all of them car crashes, that occurred from 1956 to 1960, involving the little bastard, resulting in serious injuries to spectators and even a truck driver's death. Raskin states many claims regarding the curse appear to have been based on Barris's 1974 book of the storm. So basically, this Barris is saying that this Raskin is saying that this Barris has made it up. But anyway, what happened was James Dean, the Raskin book, James Dean at Speed, states that the wrecked Spider was declared as a total loss by the insurance company, which paid Dean's father Winton the fair market value as a settlement. The insurance, obviously doesn't say how much it is. The insurance company, in turn, through a salvage yard in Burbank, sold the Spider to Dr. William F. Esquick. Esquick, who had competed against Dean in his own sports car at 3 race events during 1955, dismantled the engine and mechanical parts and installed the Porsche 4-cam engine in his Lotus 9 race car chassis. Esquick then raced the Porsche-powered Lotus, which he called a Portus, at 7 California clubs during 1956. But on October the 21st, 1956, Esquick driving his car was involved in a minor shunt with another car. There's the start of it. Barris states driving a car powered by the engine from Dean's car. Dr. McHenry, who was driving a car powered by the engine from Dean's car, was killed when his vehicle went out of control and struck a tree in the first race in which the motor had been used in Dean's.
Right, Paddy, we've got a question in there from Christian. It said, does it say what happened? Was he speeding or was it mechanical failure?
But is this the how James Dean died?
I think it was not the doctor.
The doctor,
Oh, James.
It just says when his vehicle went out, how James Dean died.
Yeah.
James Dean died because he was.
Was he not ejected from the car when it hit?
On September the 30th, 1955, Dean and his Porsche factory trainer were in competition. Dean at the races for colleagues because of this fight. At 3:30 p.m., Dean was stopped by California Highway Patrolman at just south for driving at 65 miles an hour in a 55 mile an hour zone. Following the Spider in the Ford with the trailer, also ticketed for driving 20 miles over the speed limit. At approximately 5:15, Dean had been left Blackwell's corner, driving west on Route 466 towards Paso Robles, approximately 60 miles away. Dean accelerated in the little bastard and left the Ford station wagon far behind. Further along on 466, the Porsche crested Polarino Pass and headed down the long Antelope Grade, passing cars along the way toward the junction. At approximately 5:45, a black and white 950 Ford Tudor, driven at high speed, was heading east on 466. Its driver, 23-year-old Navy veteran Cal Poly student Don Turnipseed, made a left turn onto Route 44, headed north towards Fresno. As Turnipseed's Ford.
Turnipseed, that sounds like a bull drink from Gateshead. Turnipseed.
Turnipseed. Yeah, crossed over the central line. Dean, clearly seeing an imminent crash, apparently tried to steer the Spider in a side-stepping race maneuver, but with insufficient time and space, the two cars collided almost head-on. A witness, John Robert White, reportedly saw the Spider smash into the ground 2 or 3 times in cartwheel and landing in a gully beside the shoulder of the road, northwest of the junction. The velocity of the impact sent a much heavier Ford broadsiding 39 feet down Route 466 in the opposing lane.
See, I've got to be honest with you. I'm having a look at there's a Daily Express web page here that I'm looking at, which is the unseen photographs of the actual Porsche.
I posted one on Facebook.
Yeah, I've got to be honest with you. To actually looking at that accident, he wasn't going to get out of that.
No,
and I'm
no.
surprised they've managed to get the engine out of it.
I'm
To be fair,
surprised I managed to get him out of it, as in bits of him.
I
Never
was going to
mind.
say they would have had to.
Because
With the greatest of respect, they would have possibly had to hose that down.
yeah,
There's
exactly.
a photograph on that same website there, which actually shows you the damage to the. Did he say it was a Ford?
Ford, yes.
It actually shows
Well,
you the
it-
damage.
But it sent, they were travelling that fast, and it sent the Ford 30, well, just lost it. It's because I'm looking at the wrong bit.
If I can, I'm just going to check to see if I can actually do this. Because what I might actually do is I'm going to put. I've managed to do that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to post this picture that I've just-
39 feet away
Yeah,
is how much it forced that Ford, which was a very heavy car.
I'm going to put a post on the Amron page there now with the cars. All right, let's have a little look here. Let's get. It's probably not the best thing to do on the radio. While we're talking. Oh, there we are. Look, we're live.
Like, whee! That's us.
Yes, there's me. Something like so. Hold on. So I'm going to write the post here. Put this picture on, because if you look at this picture here and you look at the bottom right hand side of it there, you will actually see the Ford that we're talking about. So James.
Yeah, so yeah, 39 feet. It pushed the Ford. So yeah, it was obviously going at some speed.
Right, I'm going to post that on there now. I'll just put a little thing there now. We'll put it on the on radio news feed there, and there you go, guys. You should be able to see that there now. I've just posted that on. And you can see if you look on the bottom right hand corner, the difference in the damage. They've actually put a before and after photo on the actual Porsche, the main one of the Porsche. If you have a look at that Ford, and there's not a lot of damage. Well, there's a front end damage, but compared to the Porsche.
Oh, the Porsche, as I say, I mean, I've seen it. Well, I posted a picture of the Porsche, and it's massive, and
Well, they've even got one on there where it's actually got a picture of it actually on the front of a forklift truck, and you can see how twisted the chassis is.
yeah. Oh,
So,
yeah, it was proper mangled.
And I'll be when I win the lottery, I'll not be buying a Porsche.
Yeah. Well, no, not one of them anyway.
Definitely not.
Not a little Spider. Yeah. So yeah, so they're. Oh, it's done again, man. Shut up. Yeah. So obviously then we have McHenry, who died, was using the engine from Dean's car.
This is the doctor, is it? Yeah.
Yeah. He crashed into the tree, just lost control completely, and he crashed in the tree. McHenry appears to have the distinction of being the only bona fide victim of the curse.
Right then, so although there is supposedly the curse, this might have actually given birth to the story. Obviously, James Dean had the accident in it. If you have an accident in a vehicle, fair enough.
Oh yeah.
Usually, obviously, when you have an accident in a vehicle, it's usually, I mean, that car is definitely a write-off in my, you know what I mean? You don't have to be a car expert to know that is.
No,
it's a
definitely
write-off.
not. No,
But
definitely not.
looking at it again, to think that they're actually going to, somebody's going to salvage the engine out of it.
Yeah.
It's pretty scary. Christine's put in it is, what a mess.
Oh,
Absolutely
it is.
totally a mess.
Yeah, as you said, there was absolutely no way on this pallet he was getting out of that any other way than the way he did. I mean, he was obviously coming out in bits, and that's exactly what
I don't
happened.
think he'd be together after that one.
No,
So-
definitely not.
So the doctors had the accident.
So yeah, so the doctors had the accident. I'm just trying to.
He died, and he's the only one from.
He's well, obviously apart from James Dean himself. But yeah, he obviously died. I'm just trying to because I did have, and I don't know what I've done with it. I did have an actual sort of thing which goes into more into it. Yeah, so the Porsche 550 Spider has become infamous as the car that killed him. As young jollops, we watched an unsolved mystery episode. Alec Guinness told Dean that the car had a sinister appearance, and then told Dean, "If you get in that car, you will be found dead in it by this time next week." And 7 days later was when he was killed.
Do you know what it is? I've got to be honest with you there. If you actually think about that, Alec Guinness, I wonder how he actually felt about that. Could you imagine turning around to somebody and going, "Hey, if you get in that car," I mean, because you think about the amount of times you've joked. I mean, I've had it said to me.
This is not the car that you want.
Yeah. No, I've had it said to me when, like, joke aside, my dad's turned around and said, "If you go on, like, you know, if you drive like that, you're going to end up killing yourself," and stuff like that. I mean, obviously when I was younger.
Yeah.
And you kind of, it's always done in that element of jest, like, yeah,
of course.
and all of a sudden you turn around to somebody, and I just wondered psychologically how Alec kind of, you know, that little dark patch at the back of his head.
He might have been really arrogant. He might have been like, "I did tell her."
Yeah, there is that factor as well. But I mean,
it depends on what he actually thought of James Dean. It might be he might have said that in, you know, a jealousy thing. He might have wanted a Spider 550 and he couldn't afford one, or he was genuinely concerned about the guy.
Yeah,
you know, I mean,
you don't know what context.
Sadly, he's not here anymore to ask him either.
I would have. That would have been a definite question to ask that one.
Yeah.
You know, just to...
But yeah, I mean, so the George Barris, who customised the 550, bought the wrecked carcass of the little bastard for $2,500. But soon after, it slipped off its trailer and broke a mechanic's leg. I knew there was more to it than this McHenry thing. Slipped off and broke the mechanic's leg. Not long after, Barris sold the engine and drivetrain to Troy McHenry, while the two were both racing against one another in cars that had parts from the little bastard. McHenry lost control and hit a tree, killing him instantly, and Esprig was seriously injured when his car suddenly locked up and rolled over while going into a turn. So both had parts of the car in there.
And again, you look at the photograph of that car and you think, what parts did they have on it? I mean, come on. And let's face it, to be fair, if it was certain parts and they were damaged, they're going to malfunction and it's going to cause an accident anyway.
Yeah. Well, he still had 2 tyres from the 550 which were untouched in the Dean's accident, believe it or not. As you see, you've seen the wreck. 2 of the tyres were untouched. I drove over in there the other day and it looks like somebody's attacked me tyre with a
carnage.
With a machete. It looks like Jason's been chasing.
Again.
He sold them, and not long after, both blew out simultaneously, causing the new owner's car to run off the road. Barris has kept the car in his possession and sold the parts. It caught the attention of 2 would-be thieves. One of the thieves' arm was torn open trying to steal the steering wheel, while the other was injured trying to remove the blood-stained tartans. So obviously they see that, you know, Dean was in when he died.
I hadn't cleaned it up.
Well, it was on display, wasn't it? So this is the car that, yeah. It's the same as the Bonnie and Clyde car, isn't it? When they put the Bonnie and Clyde car on display, it still had. In fact, I think when they put the Bonnie and Clyde car on display, it still had Bonnie and Clyde in it, didn't it?
I'm not sure.
You know, full of like sort of lots and lots of holes. It definitely, if they removed the bodies, they hadn't removed the gore. So there's definitely bits of people, bits of Bonnie and Clyde. That's another couple that I can't get. I can't get how they became iconic. You know, I mean,
it's a love story, though, isn't it? It appeals to men and women. It's the gangster love story, you know. It's that sort of, you know.
Well, it is, but still, I mean, he
girls like a bad lad, and.
But she apparently didn't kill anybody.
Yeah.
So the rumor is that she never.
Well, it's a Hollywood.
But Faye Dunaway obviously had a gunning policeman down and stuff like that. But yeah, apparently she never actually shot anyone. She was against gun violence.
Oh, there you go then.
Or against using gun violence herself. She wasn't obviously against gun violence because she was with Clyde.
I know, but
who was well known for killing people. But never mind. We're not talking about Bonnie and Clyde.
No, we're not. I'm still just trying to get my head around the fact that they're actually using parts of that car. Because it's like, I mean, I could understand somebody going, "This is James Dean's Porsche, and here we have his gear knob." this is the gear knob that he used, or the stick shifter, or whatever.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
and this is the part we're going to sell you on eBay, and this is going to be.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I could understand that. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because there is that type of market out there.
Yeah.
that
Oh,
would
no,
go-
you should have told.
Yeah,
I mean,
but-
people like sell like,
But-
this is the air that Keanu Reeves breathed in me face.
Yeah, so you've got that factor, and then you've got the other factor going, look at that, there's a car that's been absolutely trashed. Oh, look, there's some salvageable bits on that. It's Porsche, it's expensive, it costs a fortune in America. And the thing I can't understand about America is, and I see this all the time because I do like me hot rods and all that carry on. And that's cars, by the way, before you start.
I wasn't going to say
No,
that.
no, but like I watch a couple of these car shows and stuff, and the thing is there's a massive problem in America because they're all on our sizes over here.
Yeah.
Compared to their sizes.
Oh, yeah.
They've got to buy a complete new set of tools to work on a European car
Yeah.
because of the sizes of nuts and bolts and
Yeah,
things
because
like that.
they're still doing the inches and
Yeah,
feet
feet,
and whatever.
inches, and
they're still.
I was going to say imperial, but that's not.
the Imperial is what we are.
Yeah,
We're
but do you know what I mean?
Imperial.
No, it's that, but it's that factor where I mean, I can remember as a kid in my granddad's garage, you had there was always two sets
Yeah,
of tools.
you always had the metric and
The metric and the
not so
imperial.
metric.
Yeah, but like imperial sizes and stuff. But the thing is, like you see, the Americans now, I can remember. I can't remember what the show was, but I can remember that they actually they had to order a set of wheels for a Rolls Royce that they were doing up.
Yeah.
And they ordered this set of wheels, and the only set of wheels that they could find in America that were custom fit to go on Rolls Royce. You can go to a Rolls Royce showroom, buy Rolls Royce
Yeah.
wheels, and put them straight onto this vehicle.
Yeah.
But anything other than a Rolls Royce branded bit of kit, you had to go and buy it. They had to have it made, and it was like $8,000 for a set of wheel rims. And that was before you put the tires on.
Right.
That was just to fit the Rolls Royce because of the sizes and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's
Well, that's the reason why they were salvaging it.
well, yeah. I was going to say that. I was kind of just arguing myself into a corner
Yeah,
there.
exactly. Due to all the incidents involved in the little bastard. Every time I see it, I can feel my mother clipping me on the back of the head. Boris decided to hide the car, but was convinced by the California Highway Patrol to lend the car key to a highway safety exhibit. So obviously you can understand why it's been used as a safety exhibit. The first exhibit was unsuccessful as the garage that housed the car caught fire and burnt to the ground. Mysteriously, the car suffered virtually no damage at all. The next exhibition at a local high school ended abruptly when the car fell off its display and broke a nearby student's hip.
Wow.
The curse continued when the little bastard was being transported when the truck carrying the car lost control, which caused the driver to fall out and somehow get crushed by the car after it fell off the back. The car fell off two more transport trucks while traveling on the freeway, fortunately not injuring anyone. The California Highway Patrol decided that it had enough of the little bastard, and this is where it gets really interesting. So they decided to transport the car back to Barris. However, the car vanished and has not been seen since.
Wow. That's probably the best thing. Somebody's probably just taken it somewhere and buried it and went, no more.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can actually think of a few things. I mean,
There's just a PS as it was. There are stories that a single piece of the little bastard resides at the Historic Auto Retraction Museum in Illinois, but nobody will go anywhere near it or try to find out.
I mean, you've got to be honest with you. I mean, thinking about that there now, there's got to be something to that.
Well, yeah. But what?
I don't know. I mean, I'm just thinking. I'm going back to Alec Guinness again. You say, listen,
This is not the car that you're looking for.
it's not the car you're looking for. This car is cursed. But I'm just
The
trying.
force is strong with this one, D. No.
Yeah, never mind. Right, okay, but
the force is strong with this one, James.
yeah, I think and I think Diane said there in the chat room as well. Probably the best thing was it was gone missing, and hopefully somebody's just put it under. Like,
Well, I mean, somebody knows where it is, or somebody did know where it is, because it can't just vanish, can it? Well, can it? I mean, how could it possibly
I was
just
going to
vanish?
say I used to have a car that I had parked in Gateshead one night, and that went. I never saw that again.
Yeah, exactly as Diane said. People think it's haunted, so act like it is. So obviously, if it vanishes, it's vanished, hasn't it? But it hasn't technically vanished. Somebody's just hit it and gone, "Ooh, the car's vanished."
Do you know? It's probably the best. I mean, no, I don't know.
Sounds like you've almost given up. Oh, I don't know.
I,
Well, I'm just looking at them pictures. That's I now see what you're talking about.
what the Ford?
Well, both of them.
It's.
I mean,
if you
the
like,
Spider. I mean,
you look at the Porsche and you think to yourself, yeah.
I mean that's almost Transformer style. The Spider, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
almost like sort of, let's fold it up and see what we're make out of
Yeah,
it.
but they couldn't get it folded back together again.
Exactly. Yeah, it almost looked like yeah.
But I say that, I mean, when you look at the Ford, you look at the difference between the I mean, I know there was a lot of the European cars did have a bad rap. And I mean, having said that, when you look at some of the, excuse me, some of the American cars, I mean, they are built, they are indestructible.
Yeah.
Some of the American cars, you
definitely.
look at some of them and you just think, oh my God, we class, I don't know, like a Volvo over here is a well-built car that you're going to get out of in an accident.
Oh,
Some of those American cars, they're so big, from that era especially, they're so big, you probably feel it a week later if you're in a car accident or whatever. Because it's, there's plenty between you and the whatever you've hit.
Oh,
That's why I like big cars. I don't like little cars.
I like big cars and I can not lie.
It's true. I do. I don't feel safe in little cars.
Yeah. No. I mean, I mean, as you know, I used to drive a minibus, and I felt a lot safer in my minibus than what I did in the car because you're up a height.
And there's more there.
And when I can't remember what car I got, but the car I got directly after the bus, before I got the Skoda that I've got now, because the Skoda does have a little bit of height. It's not like massive, but it does have a little bit of height. But the car had in between I came to a hill and I got really scared because of the fact that I felt like I was sitting on the road. And when I came to this hill, well, obviously I'm used to being up height and seeing over the top of the hill before I got to the top of the hill. But I literally, the front of my car was going over the hill before I could see what was over the other side of the hill, and it was quite spooky.
See, I mean, I've got to be honest with you. There's one car. I'm laughing here now, just thinking to myself. There's one car I had that was nothing but bad luck.
Yeah.
And I actually turned around and said that car was cursed.
Yeah.
And I did.
Did you call it the little bastard?
No, I didn't. I probably called it a lot harder than it was. A lot worse than that I call it. But I do actually remember I got into it and the first out. I mean, it was to be fair, it was a very cheap car.
Yeah.
And I bought the car and stuff, and it had plenty of MOT. I did 12 months MOT. I went out for a drive. And literally, I drove from Sunderland up to Morpeth to actually go to a rugby match.
Yeah.
And the car caught fire, and the actual car was put out by two PCSOs, Northumbria Police, that poured their bottles of water, and it was actually the air conditioning unit that caught fire.
Right.
And I had to be recovered and taken back, and it was taken back to the garage because it was literally, I picked it up that morning, and obviously the guy in the garage told us it's all the scene, sorry mate. Which was the wrong answer because trade standards got involved, but that car had nothing but trouble with it. The lights kept going out on it. It was a Volvo.
Right.
The lights kept going out on it. There was all sorts of really weird stuff happening with it.
Yeah.
I think I had it for about 3 months in total, and obviously trading standards, and I got a full refund and a little bit of money back, and I got myself ended up with a Passat after that.
Right.
But it was I was utterly convinced that car was cursed. As you fix something, something else would go wrong with it. And I mean, I'm joking.
Yeah,
You know what I
of course,
mean?
yeah,
But
yeah,
you say, oh, that car's cursed.
yeah.
But it was horrendous.
Uh,
But Diane's saying there, but the bad luck what went with it is fulfilling the prophecy, and I think you're right. Sometimes it is a self-fulfilling prophecy, where if you've got like an attitude towards something, or if it, like a buzz is created about it.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
it's either that.
I mean, you've got it's the fear factor, isn't it? If you go into something frightened, then you become frightened of it.
Yeah.
Whereas if you go in with the whole like sort of bravado, sometimes bravado is to try and hide the fact that you're scared of something, and you go in like, look at me, I'm scared. Oh my God, I'm scared. But yeah, so if you go into it's like it's the jump in the film, isn't it?
Yeah.
Where, because you're expecting it, when it happens, you feel it more. Whereas I don't know if you've seen
Yeah. Just talking about jumps there. I was sitting I was coming back from work this afternoon. I was coming back over, and me and Mrs. G had pulled over to go and get some chips. And on the chips that we were sitting in the car eating the chips.
Right.
And
No, not so. I didn't do anything like that.
oh, sorry, mate. But no, we'd driven back and we'd actually pulled over. It was across
Maybe I had a flat tire.
well, there you go. We'd actually pulled over, and some nugget, which is loosely and politely put for radio purposes,
Yeah.
some nugget decided to throw some bangers out of his car window on the roundabout. And there was like a guy walking his dog. Well, obviously the dog was off and made me jump. I nearly dropped my chips, to be fair. But things like that drive me nuts.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes you just wonder where people are with the brains.
Well, yeah, it's another one in it. I know handing brains out there at the back of the queue as well.
Yeah.
Scraping the barrel, but I mean, anybody that wants to chuck a firework out and scare people like that, I mean, there's all sorts of animals, there's all, old folks, stuff like that.
Well, I always remember, I'm going back many years now, picking up a young lady, picking up a lady, she wasn't young, picking up a woman in the taxi, and it was round about, bonfire night. I don't think it was on bonfire night, but it was round about then, and as we know, people have said that. I mean, I don't know if you know this, but it was very quiet. But really, it was probably the quietest night out of the whole lot.
I've got to be honest with you. Bonfire night down here,
right?
I mean, I've got to be honest with you. It was like the Battle of the Somme between 6 and 9.
Right.
6 and 9. It was just one big bang. It was just. I mean, we had the local council one was on Sunday evening.
Right.
Which is always chaos anyway, because the parking's horrendous, because people just abandon their cars in the middle of the roads to go and see it for the 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Because they can't get parked in the thing. Like, I've got some cracking photographs of that. Actually, the parking's amazing. But no, but it was like the Battle of the Somme down here.
Yeah.
That's no disrespect to the Battle of the Somme, but it was constant.
Yeah.
But I was just reading all the horror stories on Facebook and stuff like that with animals and things like that. There was a dog had a heart attack.
Oh, some of these posters on Facebook of the dogs where they going to like sort of tremors and whatever, and it's horrendous. I mean, it is horrendous to see these animals getting affected by it, because they don't know what it is.
No.
I mean, if you hear something go bang, you have two options in your head. You could either go, somebody's fired a gun, or somebody set off a firework.
Yeah.
I mean, your common sense tells you it's a firework.
Obviously, in the days that we live in nowadays,
you're
not sure.
I was going to say, I mean, Michael Ryan is a prime example. People who witnessed that were asked, and they said they thought they heard fireworks going off, whereas Michael Ryan was walking through the streets of Hungerford shooting people. What you call him, the taxi driver from Cumbria, who did exactly the same.
Yeah.
Eyewitnesses or witnesses that had heard it said exactly the same. Sounded like fireworks going off. So it's not always fireworks that's going off.
That's it.
But you have the two options, because you hear something and you go, that sounds like a gun, but then your brain automatically will go, nah, it's a firework.
Yeah.
And obviously, in them two cases that I've just mentioned, it wasn't. They both
Yeah.
were gunshots. But you try and, you hope that it's a firework because you hope humanity isn't going around killing themselves.
Yeah.
But sadly, humanity does go around shooting each other. I mean, there's the story not so long ago of the Mormon family who were, was there 11 of them or something? 3 mothers and so many kids who were just gunned down by drug cartel in Mexico. You know, some of them were, 2 of the victims were 2 sort of 6-month-old babies.
No,
babies.
no, no.
Oh, yeah. Apparently they were the 3 mothers were in 3 different vehicles in convoy, and this drug cartel in Mexico just gunned them down, just literally shot in the car. The youngest baby was only safe because the mother shielded the baby, like they crossed the baby and took the bullets and stopped the baby from getting
That's
killed.
awful.
But the baby lay, for want of a better word, under her mother, because it was a young girl, under her mother for hours until police and whatever found them.
That's terrible.
But yeah, it was obviously, so you hope that humanity
You do.
do it, but sadly you do. Now, most people, I love obviously seeing Christine, and I don't mean Christine.
Yeah. Sorry, Christine, don't panic.
But the film Christine,
I haven't seen it.
the Stephen King film,
Have I
or
seen
the
the
Stephen
film?
King book, which was turned into a film. It's called Back to the Bone.
No, I don't.
Oh, right.
I like my Stephen King mind.
Like Stephen King's Christine is basically a haunted car that goes around killing people. It falls in love with the young guy who's the owner, and it also sort of possesses him a long time ago.
Yeah.
What, a long time ago you went around killing people, Christine? Or
Christine, do you want to confess?
I've given that up now. I've given it up for Christmas.
She's laughing. It's a joke. She's
Yeah,
not a
it's,
serial killer, honestly.
It's an old, I don't know, Pontiac or something. It's an old car anyway, and it goes around and it plays. It's the start of the film is it's coming along the production line, and I think one of the mechanics rests his hand on like sort of the entrance, like sort of where the engine goes, because I haven't fully built it, and the bonnet slams down and chops his fingers off, and then it goes on to kill people. It becomes possessed and what have you. And
I think this is going to be the weekend sorted here. Now.
it's a really good film.
Yeah.
It is a very good film. I think it was the 80s it came out, but it was a very good film. But yeah, it's about the possessed car. Is what I'm getting at. There is actually a police car, and the reason I'm talking about it is that there's a police car which I can't seem to find the info on, but there's a police car that basically is the basis of the story.
Right.
There's an old police car that 2 police officers that have ridden in it have died. When it was eventually sold from the police force, it's killed other people, or other people have died in it, whatever. Like I say, I can't seem to find the information.
Christine is a horror novel by American writer Stephen King, published in 1983, and tells the story of a 1958 Plymouth Fury,
No, it's the Plymouth, right?
apparently possessed by supernatural forces.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. So it's based on this police car, but like I said, I can't find the information on it. But yeah, it goes around and does. But anyway, example of phantom vehicles. In 1982, 2 people in Hawaii reported seeing a mysterious black car which disappeared and reappeared again a second later. What, did it go behind the village? Did it go behind
Wasn't Marty McFly driving it with it?
did it go behind the house and then come out the other side? I mean,
So the car.
the car disappeared and then reappeared a second later. Yeah. Somehow I wouldn't really put that down as being paranormal. It's probably just the way, But like, I could see a car that I blinked.
I was going to say my first reaction is blink. Oh, there it is. But
where's Dave gone? Oh no,
I'm here. Open your eyes, Paddy, open your eyes. I know we're laughing, but there has, I mean, going back to roads and stuff, there is that famous footage of the ghost that was seen crossing the road. And we'll have to dig that out. There's footage. Somebody's got a camera on the side of the road. They were filming the documentary.
Right.
You can see the cars moving backwards and forwards, and you actually see the sun was in their eyes dying.
Yeah,
well done.
yeah.
But you actually see the footage, and it actually looks like somebody walking along the road,
right,
like across the road, and then it disappears halfway across the road. Now it is quite good footage from it.
Yeah.
It's quite widely known in paranormal circles.
Right.
As good evidence of good footage, because it's not like it's sort of the old fact there. There's a definitive line you can actually make out with it, somebody crossing the road and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's been analysed, it's been checked out, and there's been no interference with it or anything like that. But there has been, that kind of I've heard it for things like trains as well. There's a fun. I'm trying to remember where that. There's a story in Canada.
Could we be coming to it? We are coming to it.
Oh, right. Okay.
On. So in the 1960s, a car that had bumper stickers. I don't know what relevance, because I read the story and I don't know what relevance that has. The witness passed the car, but it mysteriously reappeared ahead of the witness. So gone past it and then reappeared. Just drove past. It several stoplights later. Also, the witness noticed that the driver was a man in his teens and that he never turned his head and he never moved the steering wheel when the man drove around the dead man's curve.
Right, okay.
So as he drove around, he didn't turn and actually go around. He just turned. The car just went down without a turn.
Okay.
2004 in Cape Town, South Africa, a Renault Megane. Well, there you go. That's the problem.
Well, I'll tell you what. Have you got all night Renault Megane?
That's the problem.
It's called a Renault migraine in my book because it gives a headache every time I got in it. Never mind.
It mysteriously rolled up an embankment and hit a fence. Although the handbrake was engaged and the engine was off, some say the car was jumping. I'll tell you a story. Oh, dear.
I had the very very same car.
What was this one?
I bought a Renault Megane and I drove it home. Obviously, I'd gone to work, came out the pub that I worked in the hotel that I worked in, very, very late on the night time, to drive home.
Yeah.
I came out the driveway of this pub and I went on the main road, and there was a little bit of a straight stretch of road, and I only had the car. I'd literally picked the car up, driven to work, right, as you do. And the bonnet had an electric release catch on it.
Oh, right.
As I was driving along, the bonnet just come up full black. It hit the windscreen.
Yeah.
It didn't shatter the windscreen, but actually wrapped the bonnet. I wasn't going that fast. This is the scary part of it. And it actually wrapped the bonnet around the front of the car, and I had to stop. Now, on the stretch road that I was on was a really dangerous stretch road just outside of Long Horsley.
Right.
Cars coming. You used to get the kids on a night time before racing if it was a dry night, because it goes down a bit of a hill and then onto a long bit. And got to be honest with you, that car didn't last.
Yeah.
That was another demon car that I had. But no, that for no reason whatsoever.
I used to have a Austin Maestro. And
they were cracking cars.
I just didn't like it. Which was ironic because when Maestro first came out, I always wanted one. I was like, I want an Austrian Maestro, and then I managed to get one. And
I'm trying to think what we.
I think it lasted for about 3 months, and then I hated it. Every single thing about it. There wasn't a redeeming feature about the Maestro. Looking at it, I thought that looks like it's nice. I want one of them.
My granddad.
I then bought one, and like I say, I think I had it for 3 months and then got rid of it because there wasn't a redeeming feature about it. There's nothing I can sit here now and say that I liked about the Maestro.
Had I got over a bump in the road or a hole in the road? No, I hadn't, Christine. It
No,
was
he just
literally...
knocked that woman out who he said was a ghost walking across the street.
No,
which
no,
is a ghost now.
I didn't. No, I literally I got in the car and I drove out of work, hadn't touched any buttons, hadn't done anything at all. And I was literally just driving along. And as I was looking out the bonnet,
Yeah.
you know, like on a car, and
Yeah.
you look down as
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
looking down the bonnet of the car as you're driving along.
Yeah.
It wasn't even like popped up or anything. You know how sometimes you can tell a tire and you can see the gap, and it just literally. And it shouldn't technically have done that either, because obviously there's a hook on it that you've got to release. So I don't know how it did it.
Even if it pops up, it should still hang on.
Yeah, I tell you what, mine though, it put a fear of God into us, because
I bet you call that a little bastard, no?
oh, it got worse than that. There was blue.
In the mid-1980s, 3 people in a sedan reported seeing a grey van heading straight towards them. Then suddenly, the van vanished. Did it turn off the road by any
Was
chance?
that John Black gun?
And then obviously we've just discussed the curse of the little bastard. In Germany, a car mysteriously started up by itself and rammed a wall. In 2000, an eyewitness claimed that an old truck started up by itself and blinked at him. Blinked at him? What? You know what I mean? Flashed its lights rather than blinked. I mean, he didn't like to be blinking at him,
He's
did
standing winking back there, right, kid?
As he walked past an old house to where some were skeptic that someone was pranking them.
I don't know, like I haven't said that. Some of the pranks I've seen with cars and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Working in the hospitality.
Early 1980s, a British motorist crashed his car in order to avoid a truck that suddenly appeared coming straight towards him and then vanished. That's a guy getting home from the pub, isn't it?
No, I'm gonna actually, I'll tell you something that happened to me many years ago. I used to do back in the day.
Back in the day,
I used to do a little bit of
when I was a
driving.
lad.
Yeah, I used to do a little bit of driving. I was going up the M74.
Right.
And I was actually alongside Lockerbie.
Yeah.
And I was driving along.
Yeah.
Not minding it, as you do when you're driving. Sort of. I was in a 7.5 ton truck. I was on my way up to Glasgow and to drop some stuff off up there. And it was literally one of them. So straight up there.
And there was a bloke crashed his car because he tried to avoid it.
No. As I was driving along, I looked on the side of the road. Yeah, I was singing away, and serious, genuinely, it looked like there was a little girl in pajamas standing on the roadside, and she was stood, and she had like blondish hair.
Right.
I'd say she was about 3 or 4.
Right.
Blue eyes.
Right.
This is how clear I saw her.
Yeah.
She had like a pink pajamas on. You know those fluffy pajamas, the ones you wouldn't want to wear near a fire.
Yeah.
Those ones, I mean, the really fluffy one.
Yeah.
But they had little white stars on them.
All right.
She had a blanket. She had a rabbit, and she was barefooted.
Right.
And I went past her, and you know when you just see something out the corner of your eye, and you just think, and it, bloody hell.
Yeah.
And I pulled the truck over. I literally. I punched the hazard lights on.
Yeah.
And I stood on the brakes and I pulled it over.
Yeah.
I jumped out and I ran up the side of the road. Now on the edge of the road is on the M74 where it is.
Yeah. I know where you mean that. Well, I know the road you mean.
There's a big sort of, you know, like a
hill.
Yeah, like an embankment down the side of the thing. I looked, couldn't see her. At all. I thought she might have fallen down the embankment. Obviously, when I'd seen her, I'd pulled it over quite sharpish, and obviously all those other things go through your head.
She probably thought, "Whoa,
well, you know, and I sort of pulled it. I was more concerned about the fact there was a kid standing on the roadside, you know, and I searched for her all over the place.
Yeah.
Couldn't see her anywhere.
Yeah.
I started to get really panicky. Then you kind of, you know, when your brain kicks in, Howie, come on, do I need to call the police here? And at that point, I was kind of panicking.
Then you pulled into the petrol station and shot her.
You're horrible. You really are.
No, that's the start of The Walking Dead. Is that Rick, the main character, walks into a petrol station and there's a child dressed pretty much exactly as you just described. And he shoots it because obviously she's a zombie.
No. But no, funny enough, I did actually go into the service station.
Right,
I pulled
yeah.
into the service station,
Yeah.
and I went to go into the toilet because obviously, you know, he kind of like panicking and stuff. And I was thinking to myself, what am I going to do? What am I going to do here? And I started, and I was talking to, I can't remember. I don't know whether he worked there or whether it was somebody like one of the guys that worked in like the petrol station. He had all like, you know, the badge on and the uniform and stuff that they wear.
Yeah.
And he basically turned and I said, I said, I don't know what to do. I said, I've just seen this little girl on the side of the road. And he went, is it such and such a place? I can't remember the name. There was a specific name for the place. And I'm like, yeah, next to the embankment. He went, yeah, he says, loads of people see it. Never find her, but loads of people see it. And it was just like, as if you'd just seen the cloud that has just floated past outside. It was just kind of like completely like water for ducks back this float. And I was like, and I felt kind of relieved at the time because I was genuinely in a panic thinking, where, you know, you just,
so did you say it was near Lockerbie?
Yeah.
So it was before or after?
Oh, it's after Lockerbie.
So do you think it could be,
I don't know.
A spirit from the plane?
I genuinely don't know. I mean,
because a lot of them were sucked out, weren't they? Because the actual real of the plane flew off.
I knew a guy
long before they actually reached Lockerbie. I mean, Lockerbie was like the end, as it was, obviously.
I know a couple of guys who work for Northumbrian Water at Fontburn, which, if you look on a map, Fontburn Reservoir is obviously our side.
Yeah.
And they found all sorts of debris in the water and littered around and stuff like that.
Keep a forest lost, didn't it? Apparently, I don't know the exact timing, but apparently if the bomb had gone off so many seconds, I believe, earlier, the actual rear of the plane would have landed on Stanley, where I live, because Stanley was in Spy Path.
Wow.
So if it had gone off, like I said, I don't know, it's seconds, it's not like minutes.
Yeah.
You know, but I mean, obviously, you know how fast a plane travels. But it's so many seconds that if it had gone off 20, 30 seconds earlier, then the rear of the plane, the tail of the plane would have landed instead. But because of where it did go off, it ended up in the tail of the
it was quite, I would say it was quite a, you know, surreal experience. That girl, to me, for all intents and purposes, when I drove past her, was standing on the roadside. Yet, when he went back to look for her, she was coming. I mean, I haven't really looked into anything like, you know, it's not the type of question you'd want to go and ask. But I would say between the ages of 4 and 6. Like blonde hair, down to shoulder length, and you know, I was just aware, like, I got a good enough look at it to know that she had blue eyes and stuff, and it was quite a chilling experience. That, like I said, the panic thing. Because the other thing was, I started crossing across the other side of the road with cars coming past on the motorway to see if she'd gone over the other side of the road, which is obviously not what you want to do.
No, definitely not.
The high-vis vest, no matter what PPE you've got on, the high-vis vest isn't going to stop you.
Definitely not. So the curved road at the junction of St Mark's Road and Cambridge Gardens and Ladbroke Grove was reportedly haunted by a phantom bus with a route marker 7, which caused numerous accidents, one of which was fatal. The report subsided when the area of the road was straightened. Harry Potter.
Yes, the phantom.
He goes on the night bus, doesn't he? Trains. Aha. Silver Pillen, the Silver Arrow, is a Stockholm metro train which features in several urban legends, alleged sightings of the train's ghost. The St. Louis ghost train, better known as the St. Louis Light, is visible at night along an old abandoned rail line between Prince Albert and St. Louis, Saskatchewan. That's the Canadian train.
Oh, that's the one, yeah.
Let's have a look.
No, because I know there's there was a one somebody, I can't remember who it was that told us a story. It might have been one of my uncles. Then again, I might have been one of them told us a story where there was this one regularly where the crossing the lights would go on in the crossing and the actual the barriers and everything, the lights would flash and the barriers would come down, and then you'd actually hear the train coming, and then you wouldn't see anything.
Yeah.
And then obviously the barrier would stop flashing the lights and everything would pop up because obviously they want like an auto. Apparently they want an auto detector.
The phenomenon has been featured on television series, The Unsolved Mysteries, and tales of strange light moving up and down along an old abandoned rail line at night, changing colours and varying in brightness. The line located south of Prince Albert and north of St. Louis has its tracks removed, but the phenomenon still occurs on a regular basis. Several stories attempt to explain the lights, including that it's a ghost train or the ghost of a drunk brakeman who lost his head to a passing train and now wanders up and down the tracks with a lantern, attempting to find it. In 2014, Canada Post issued a stamp depicting the St. Louis ghost train, one of a series of 5 depicting Canadian ghost tales. 2 12th grade students from Larange, northern Saskatchewan, won scientific gold medals for investigating and then eventually duplicating the phenomenon, which they determined to be caused by diffraction of distant Vega light. However, the light has been reported before causing the light. So there you go.
Wow.
So yeah,
Ghost trains.
ghost trains.
Excellent. Right, okay then.
Exactly. I think it's time for a break, isn't it? I mean,
I think it is.
We've been on for an hour and a half.
Okay then, what we'll do is before we go for a break there, I'm going to do the contact details again. If you want to phone into the show, you can contact us on 01207 795 005. If you want to text us, you can text the text number is 60777. If you start your message with 89MX4, or you can message us on WhatsApp, and that is 07742660483. And I think we'll be back after this. I've got to get my mum over